Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome to our first episode of our new Carolina Hurricanes franchise mode series here in NHL 18. So, basically, I'm going to go through a few things before we get started with the roster, because we're just going to go through the roster pretty much in this episode, who we have on the team. I already set up everything to make it like the GM mode that we normally have, so the injuries are set down to like 8 out of 100, and then there's like... just things like the morale meetings are off, but there is still player morale, so we could still see people getting pissed off with ice time. We just don't have to tell them to calm down or whatever. So basically those are settings we have. Otherwise, the rosters I'm using are the rosters that I showed you guys in that little just over a minute clip I showed you guys. All those players I created, like Adam Fox and stuff like that, all those guys are unsigned players in real life, but I did make them all, and I signed, I think, most of them to 3-year entry-level deals, so that way, after 1 year, if they aren't good enough, they still could be playing in, like, the minors or something like that, other than just going right to, like, a free agency. So, yeah, anyways, that's that, and then also, since last series I uploaded pretty much every second day for the Minnesota Wild GM mode, I decided, in terms of making my videos better quality, I'm going to be only uploading this series twice a week, and those episodes would probably come out on Tuesdays and Fridays only. Just also it gives you guys like 3 days to come up with potential trades and signings you guys want me to do, instead of like having 1 day where you guys could only figure out what you guys want me to do. Considering I don't get a lot of comments on my videos, I want to kind of get a little bit more engagement out of you guys. So suggest anything down below always. That would be awesome. And yeah, so let's get into what the rosters look like for Carolina. Our main concern, I think, is our goaltending at the moment. We'll just look through the line screen, or you know what, actually let's go to the contracts. It might be easier. So this is the most recent roster update, and then it also has all my created players on it. I might show you guys a few of them, well, the ones that are on our team at least, so you guys can let me know if there's any potential changes or any like overall changes I should make and whatnot. So let's start with our center core, which is kind of weak to an extent. So we got Jordan Staal, who's definitely somebody I would be looking to move out if we want to go into rebuilding stage right away. He is solid right now, but like he is signed for, I think, 6 years. Yeah, he signed for like 6 years at $6 million at age 29. I don't really want to keep him around until age 35, to be honest. So he's definitely somebody we could ship out. Then there's also Victor Rask, who's pretty solid, 80 overall, top 6 forward, so he could still grow maybe like a couple overalls. He's only making $4 million for the next 3 seasons. Then we also got Derek Ryan, who's just been like a bottom 6 guy that's not the greatest defensively. I don't think we're going to re-sign this guy because he's probably going to drop off or something, and he's already 30. Then we got Marcus Kruger, who's making just over $3 million for the next 2 years. He's solid. He's kind of underrated to an extent. I think like he could be up there as like a 78, 79, maybe not a 77. But he is solid defensively, so he's a decent bottom line player to keep around. But if for some reason we want to go into a rebuilding stage, we could trade him away next season. We could keep him for all of this year or whatever. Then in terms of left wingers, we got Sebastian Aho, who's definitely one of our key pieces here to the team. I want to keep him around as long as I can. He's an 85 in only 20. He's only got medium top 6 potential, but he could still probably grow to like an 87, 88. I can't see him getting higher than that, but you never know. Then we got Jeff Skinner, who's kind of past his prime to an extent, or just getting into his prime. He is only 25, but he's an 84 overall. Solid player all around, but if we want to, we could definitely get rid of this guy because he's only signed for 2 more years. So maybe we get rid of him in the off season this year if we want to. We don't have any horrible contracts like we did in Minnesota with like Parise and Suter. We also got Tara Vinen on a 2-year deal. I could potentially want to bring him back, obviously, because he's only 23 and 84 overall, but he might be somebody that we move out eventually. I don't really like having like playmakers on the wing. I would prefer this guy being maybe a center, considering he has 77 faceoffs. So maybe we use him as a center instead and get rid of whoever our second line center was, which was who was it? Victor Rask could probably play wing instead. He's good at faceoffs. I don't know. But anyways, that's our thing. And then we have some bottom liners who are pretty much nothing. So DiGiuseppe, Nordstrom, and Brock McGinn, who actually just got into a big fight recently. I can't remember who it was with. I literally just saw the highlight. And then on the right wing, we got Elias Lindholm, who's only signed for one more season, and we definitely want to bring this guy back. He could grow to like an 84, 85. Last GM mode that I had him was probably our first ever GM mode with the New York Islanders. I traded for him. He's a decent playmaker, and he also could play center, as you can see with the 77 faceoffs. So maybe we use this guy as a center, or we could use Teravainen as a center instead. Then we also have Justin Williams, who's definitely old, and I don't know why he signed for a 2-year deal. I'd only sign him for a 1-year deal, but I think if for some reason like we want to, we could trade him away at the trade deadline this year to like a cup contending team, maybe send him back to LA or something. I don't know. Then we also got Lee Stempniak, who's just basically nothing. He's old too. And Josh Jors, who's definitely nothing. Then on the defensive side, this is where we're getting a little stronger, and we have some good prospects in as well. So we got Justin Falk, who's our captain. He is signed for the next 3 seasons, so we might want to, I don't know if we're going to be able to get him back, because maybe he's going to want to go to a contender by then. If we're a contender, maybe he'll sign with us again, but he's definitely a big piece to the team currently. You got also Noah Hannafin, who's medium elite, 84 overall and only 20. So he's definitely somebody we need to get back on that like contract, because he's an RFA this year, or this offseason, so he's a very important piece to get back. Slavin and Pesci are making really crazy contracts. Like, as you can see, they're currently still on their minor league deal for this season, but starting next season, they're making a combined total of $9.325 million for like the next like 6-7 seasons. So those are the guys that are kind of outrageous in terms of contracts, but right now they're solid pieces to the team. But if like they're dropping off or something, or we have youngsters coming up, we might have to move out these guys first. Then we also got Trevor Van Riemsdyk, who's basically just a defensive defenseman. He's got good defensive stats, but I know for sure, well, at least when we were in Minnesota, he didn't play the greatest defensively, and then also he only, like, I don't think he even scored a single goal in one season, so he's not offensive by any means. But we could always flip him out as well. He's only 26, so he's not the oldest either. And then we also got Hayden Fleury, who's another good young prospect, kind of 79 overall, low elite defenseman. So he's basically just starting his NHL career this year, and he's only 21, so he could be one of those defensemen that grow to like an 83, 84 if we're lucky, maybe even higher. And then Klaus Delbeck's pretty much nothing. He's just a depth guy at 76 overall, so definitely somebody that I don't think we'll be getting back for next season unless he wants a 2-way deal. Maybe we could sign him for the AHL. And then goaltending wise, like I said, this is where we are extremely weak. As you can see, we got Scott Darling and Cam Ward, who are both 81 overall. Cam Ward's like the last remaining player from the Stanley Cup winning team in 05-06. And Scott Darling just came over this year. He is signed for how many years? 3 years? 4 years. Holy crap. 4 years at 4.150. So he's definitely somebody I would be looking to flip, maybe to a team that needs a backup goaltender. And then we could just pick up a new starting goaltender eventually at the draft or whatnot. And then in terms of prospects, let's see. In the system, we have actually some good prospects. So in terms of center prospects, we don't really have too much except for Martin Nicasse, who's a 61 at age 18. Definitely somebody that's going to be hopefully a big piece to the team in the future. He doesn't have the greatest defensive stats, but hopefully those grow while he is in the AHL. And then we also got Alexei Sorella, who does not seem to ever really grow that well. He's already 20, so we might never use this guy. We might just use him as trade bait. Nicholas Wall is also a solid prospect, 68 overall, medium top 9, so he could still grow to like maybe if we're lucky, like 80, let's say like an 80 or something like that. If he grows properly, I don't know if he will. We also have Geeky, who's currently unsigned, Kokinen, who's a bottom 6 guy, and pretty much everybody else is nothing. But if you see any changes that I should make with the potential, because I don't know how good some of these players are actually supposed to be, let me know, and I will flip them around, because we're not going to do any simulating in this episode. And then in terms of left wing, we got Foegele, but Fogele's already 21. He might be a bottom liner at best, or an AHL top 6 forward, but I don't think he's going to be anything huge. Luosterainen's pretty decent though, 56 at age 19, so he could be maybe a top 9 forward if we grow him right. Same with Felipe, but Felipe's got low top 9 potential. This is one of the guys I actually made for the GM mode. I have no idea how good of a player he is, but he currently plays in the United States in like I think the USHL or some like college hockey or university hockey league. And then we also got Hudson Elianek, who I don't think will turn out to be much. And then in terms of right wing, we got Julian Gauthier, who is a 69, 19-year-old low elite. I know this guy grows to like an 82, 83 sometimes, so maybe we keep him around for a long term. Zykov, I don't know if he's going to pan out really because he's 73 and 22, but he might end up being like a depth guy for us if we grow him. Then the rest of the guys are pretty much nothing. Tolchinsky and whatnot are just like AHLers. But I think Tolchinsky is actually a decent player. I don't know. I've seen him have really good speed and whatnot. So maybe he grows to being like a 78 if we're lucky. I don't know, fourth liner or a depth guy. And then on defense, we got Jake Bean, who's signed for a 3-year entry-level deal. But he won't be able to play in the AHL till next season or the season afterwards. He's definitely our best defensive prospect, and I've seen him put up really good numbers. He's somebody I don't want to trade. I want to see if I could hold on to him for long term. Then we also got Luke Martin, who's another guy I made. I have no idea how good this guy's actually in real life, but I made him a 65 overall defensive defenseman at age 18. Roland McCowan, I don't know if he's going to grow. He's almost a 70 at 21, but he might be a top 6 guy or a depth guy. I think I've seen him the highest at like an 80. And then the rest of these guys are pretty much just like AHLers, so nobody important. And then in terms of goaltending, we got Alexander Nedeljkovic. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Nedeljkovic maybe. He is a medium starter, 21 years of age and 68 overall, so he might be the starter for like a couple years if we grow him. Otherwise, I think we need a better goaltending prospect in him. And then we got Jack LaFontaine, who's another guy I made. I have no idea how he's actually supposed to be, but I made him a fringe starter. And then we got Helvig, who's a backup, and Jeremy Smith. So that is our roster. Most of these guys, yeah, these are the guys that are currently unsigned. Everybody else is signed to a contract. Let's see. So yeah, that's basically our roster. I guess now we can show you guys what the trading block looks like, so we could maybe make some potential trades already before we start the season, or we could just wait till we get to the trade deadline. But I'll show you guys anyways the trading block. I already looked at it, and there was one person that caught my eye in specific. So as always, Anaheim has Max Jones on the block, and same with Arizona having their older guys. Boston has one of the players I made on there, Trent Friedrich, but I don't really want to trade for a prospect I made necessarily, just because it just seems cheap. I would rather see him pan out with his actual team. And then Buffalo's got some more veterans. Same with Calgary, Barat, who's another prospect I made, but Chicago's on the block. The one that did catch my eye, well, there's one that did catch my eye from a different team, but I won't trade for him, is Kirill Kaprizov. Like, I made him again, like on like a new version of him. He's supposed to be really good, so I have him as a high top 6 forward. I don't know if he's, I know for sure, I think he's going to reach like an 88, 87 pretty much. And he does put up a lot of points, obviously, with our Minnesota series, but I'm not going to trade for him just because it seems kind of weird just to trade for a prospect that you made and then you know is going to pan out. Yeah, there's more veterans pretty much with every single team. The guy that did catch my eye though was with the St. Louis Blues, and it's not a prospect I've actually made, is Klim Kostin, because he's got low trade value. He's a center power forward. He's 18 years of age. He's got medium top 6 potential, so he might end up being a very good like power forward for us on like the second line or something like that. I don't know how he grows, but definitely somebody I would maybe want to bring in. He's got low trade value as well, so you might be able to get him in like a pick back for like Jordan Staal or something. Tampa Bay has nothing. I don't think there was anything else. Yeah, there's nothing else because I don't want to trade for Lucas Johansson because we got a lot of good defensive prospects already. I think mostly what we need is like a goaltender prospect that we could draft, or like some forward prospects, because some of our forwards are gonna have to like get rid of. We're gonna have to get rid of some of them for this team. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to do. I'll show you guys the draft class, even though you know the draft class, because it's the same draft class that started every GM mode. They have updated the rosters and stuff like that, so there is like Boquist, who goes top 5 for defenseman, but we don't need him. So if we're looking to get a top line center, Veleno might be that type of guy if we have a really bad season. There's also Kupari and Kovanov. I don't know if Kovanov is even a real guy. I know for sure not to draft Isaac Lundestrom now, because Lundestrom was a bust in our series in Minnesota, so definitely not going to draft him. And then in terms of goaltenders, let's see what we got here. Oh, Ulanov's a first rounder. Maybe that guy's a medium elite goaltender. There's also Alexis Gravel. We could bring him back from our Canucks series in NHL 17. So yeah, there's a decent amount of prospects, obviously. Not exactly sure what we want to go for in terms of the draft, because that's still far away. But yeah, I'm hoping that we could maybe go back into a rebuilding stage, kind of like what we did with Minnesota, where we missed the playoffs for a couple of years. Then we got some good prospects, and then basically we're a contender for the rest of the GM mode. So let me know what you guys think we should do in terms of this team, like what we should do in terms of trading, who we should maybe like go after in terms of the draft, potential line changes even. Like I'll show you guys the current lines. Like, what do you guys think we should have our line set up like? Because like I said, Lindholm's a good center, same with Teravainen. Like, we could always move Teravainen to the second line center, or we could keep Rask there instead, just put Teravainen, or Lindholm I think definitely should go up here instead of Williams, because Williams, even though he's listed as a second liner, he's old. But yeah, basically I think that's the type of line setup we should have. And then, yeah, these guys could be scratch players. So let me know what you guys think with all this sort of stuff. I don't know exactly what I want to do with this team, because I've never done a GM mode with Carolina before. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for our first episode of a Carolina Hurricanes GM mode. So next episode, we will probably start up the season simulation. I'll show you guys any changes that I make, and I'll see you guys next time.